The Social Assistance Grant for Empowerment Program SAGE was conceived in 2009 after studies show that many vulnerable groups like the elderly, the disabled and orphans were not benefiting from government programs. In partnership with DFID, UNICEF and Irish Aid, Uganda received funds to finance this 5-year pilot project. And though poverty levels have drastically reduced from 57% in the last 2 decades to 24.5% today, there is still a section of communities living in extreme poverty. It's this 24.5%, often referred to as the poorest of the poor, that the program intends to give a comfortable life.
You know, we would like to cut a vicious circle of poverty, where a family passes on poverty to another generation, to children and everywhere. So the chronically poor, who are about 7 million people in this country, need some intervention that will enable them reach the level of poverty where other people are benefiting out of the other main government poverty interventions.
14 districts have been identified as those with the highest poverty levels, with at least 600,000 people as the first beneficiaries.
Those who are chronically poor, by UBOS 2009-10 research, are about 20%, 26% of the population in Uganda. There are about 7 million people in this country. Now, a serious government cannot leave 7 million people unattended to. This is why the Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, together with development partners and other stakeholders, thought that we cannot have a feature which is stable by neglecting a big number of people unattended to. Because the danger there would be passing poverty from one family to another generation, where a few people would be richer, others would be poor. That would be dangerous for you. Therefore, what we are doing today is to address those who are in the chronic poverty level to reach a level of poverty where others are also benefiting from other government programs that intervene in poverty issues. It is not merely giving out money. You are talking about nutrition. Let us improve people's lives by eating well. You bring in bonaba, you bring in nuts. You bring in nuts because you want to have a variety of foods within the community. But there are those who are not actively involved. Nuts will target the active poor. The inactive poor will remain unattended. And once you lack nutrition, you are likely to lose out.
Apart from the poverty levels, we also consider the number, the proportion of older persons in the communities, the proportion of orphans and vulnerable children in the community. We consider the distance, the average distance to health center for these districts. And then we also consider the enrollment rate in the district. So these are some indicators that we arrived at 23,000, basing on the minimum expenditure of the poorest person. Because you know this program is just supporting the poor people to reach a certain level. But the plan is that all the districts that we are in, all the sub-counties are supposed to benefit. And so we shall roll out every 2 months, we shall add in 2 new sub-counties in the district, and as well as rolling out to a new district.
In eastern Uganda, Kaberamaido and Katakwi were identified, while Apache and Kole were picked from northern Uganda. In West Nile, Nebi and Zombo were the chosen 2. Kiboga and Chankwanzi were picked in central, while in the west, Kyenjojo and Chegegwa were identified. Far northeast, Moroto, Napak, Amudat and Nakapiripiri topped the list of districts with the highest poverty levels. And so far for the next 5 years, the program will give 23,000 shillings every month under 2 types of grant. The senior citizens grants, that is people above 65 years of age, and the vulnerable families support grants, and that is families with low labor capacity and high dependency. On 2nd of September 2011, the Social Protection Program was launched in 3 pilot districts of Kaberamaido, Kiboga and Kyenjojo. The Minister for Gender, Saida Bumba, and the State Minister for Elderly and Disabilities, Sulaiman Madada, launched the program in the 3 districts. Hundreds of old people above the ages of 65 years that the program targets turned up in large numbers to receive their cash donations. It was indeed a moment of joy for many who probably had not received, let alone touched, 23,000 shillings in such a long time.
We will be giving money in accordance with the inflation rates. So it is not fixed. When the inflation goes up, the point is to look at $10 per person, which can be translated according to the current rate of the exchange.
The first call on that money would be for them to meet their basic needs, and you should emphasize this. Saving should come last, but it should also be a component. They should be able to go to access government programs. They should be able to access medical services. They should be able to get the basics for their children to stay in schools, and they should be able to eat well so that they are healthy. And after all those are catered for, then the little there is, they can save and have multiplier effect.
Sene mugaso nnyo nagugula enkoko naye kuyamba nagugula kabuzi wakalika kakuyamba.
The money is to be channeled through MTN mobile money in the last 5 days of the month.
Beneficiaries should not worry about that. Whether the system is up or the system is down, we will still effect that payment. So the technology is very simple. When you enter that card into that phone becomes like a mobile phone. You can make telephone calls, you can send SMSs. So we are giving the old people an opportunity also to communicate with the outside world, which might have been appropriate.
This activity will be once every month, and we have pay points where MTN will be getting nearer to the people. We don't need to be at a financial institution, but we are creating financial institutions in the sub-counties near the beneficiaries. But two, it is also important not to spread too much, because it will bring out costs, but also it will also bring out insecurity of the money. But these beneficiaries, once they are there once in a while, it will not really be a big problem to them.
Sub-county and district officials who have been tasked to oversee the program have been given vehicles and motorcycles to make their work run more efficiently. Government is, however, warning these officials not to misuse and misappropriate these resources for their own benefits. The Ministry of Gender has promised to bring the SAGE services closer to the people.
There was a complaint about the few paying centers, and which make it expensive for people to go to the few distant centers to collect money. Some people spending as much as 10,000 to go and collect 23,000. So what I pledged the people is that we are going to sit down with a technical team and with our development partners to see how we take services to the people so that they don't spend much to access the money. I would like to request MTN to extend tender and loving care to these senior citizens. They need special attention. They don't move at the same speed like you young people move.
As a pilot project, it's hoped that SAGE will form a basis to an even bigger project so that the whole country can benefit from it in the future.
buli mwezi zikozese bulungi.